Bro, why does the IRS have weapons? Like, do they carry, guys? Is that a thing? I mean, I get it, they're federal agents and things like that, but I have no idea why they would have, weapons. I'm one of these in the camp that says blatantly, let's go ahead and get rid of the IRS. I don't like them. I'm just gonna be fair here. I'm not, but listen, I'm one of these individuals that just basically, I never got a tax refund. Right. I mean, at least not since I've been an adult, right? Like a full blown adult, I have not gotten a tax return at all. I always pay every single year. I'm not in a rush under any circumstances to engage at all in rushing to pay taxes. My corporate taxes are due on the 15th of March, and personal taxes are due on the 18th of the 15th of March. Today, April. You get what I'm saying here, right? I'm not in a rush for none of that stuff. I don't get money back, bro. But either way, Doge lawmakers demands IRS sell off massive weapons stockpile. Really? Let's go and jump into it. Let's see what this takes us, guys. This is a suggestion via Discord.
Millions of Americans facing a midnight deadline to file their tax returns.
I went today.
A conservative watchdog group reportedly sent a memo to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent with the subject line, Democrats abuse power in IRS to entrench partisanship. The memo, reported by the Washington Examiner, reads, over 60% of IRS leadership have outwardly supported Democratic politicians or liberal policies. Okay. It also says none of the leadership has supported Republicans or conservatives. Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business, joins me in just a moment to talk about all of this. First, though, let's scoop up more information. Fox Business's Hillary Vaughn on Capitol Hill. Hillary.
Hi, Harris. Well, most Americans did have to write a big fat check to the government today to pay their taxes, but over 100,000 federal workers are not paying their taxes on time. In 2021, the IRS found that almost 150,000 federal workers owe about $1.5 billion in unpaid taxes. Over 5,000 of them work at the IRS and owe $50 million in overdue taxes. Senator Joni Ernst introducing several bills aimed at cleaning up the IRS. One bill would require IRS employees to be audited every year and fired if they don't pay their taxes. Another bill would sell off the IRS's weapons stockpile. It has spent about $10 million taxpayer dollars buying guns and ammo, stockpiling 4,500 guns, 5 million rounds of ammo, even 15 machine guns. Ernst says it's time to sell that stockpile off to pay down the debt, helping Doge's mission. So far, Doge has saved taxpayers $155 billion and counting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, I have no idea why the IRS needs any firearms. Again, they don't carry. And also the fact that we're finding out now currently that the IRS does not, that some of the people there are not actually paying their taxes. That's strange here, guys, right? Like, listen, there are some jobs that you cannot get under any circumstances, mainly financial jobs, like if you have bad credit. I don't understand how you can work for the IRS and not have, your tax debt perfectly, cleared out, bro. What's going on with this? It looks like, I think they definitely need to be looked at deeply.
I think the American people are disgusted by the waste they're seeing of their tax dollars, especially on a day like today, April 15th, when they're writing those checks to the federal treasury, to know that that money's not all going to help keep our country strong with the national defense, but it's going to waste money.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
It's not just wasteful, Harris. It also may not be safe for IRS special agents to be armed. An investigation found that at one point, IRS special agents fired their weapons accidentally more than they did intentionally. Harris?
Goodness. Wow. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Focus on Charles Payne.
Bro, that is a crazy stat.
Just making money on Fox Business. So, welcome. I want to hit you with 2 points. First of all, why do they get away with owing that much money?
I guess they write a note. You know where I work, I'll get it to you. I don't, it's like, it really is amazing. It's one of the reasons why we're so frustrated with all of this in general. Like this, there's just two sets of rules, right? And that's another one of the fringe benefits, being insulated by the federal government.
Talk to me about the gun situation. Now,
Bro, why are his suits always so loud?
This is not connected to Americans' right to buy guns. This is, the way I'm understanding it, it's for that agency and those people who work there. Why?
Well, they have a small division, criminal investigation division,
yes.
But I think when Biden was talking about expanding 87,000 more agents, obviously part of that was to intimidate folks, and I think they were going to deputize a whole lot more agents and, to go beyond the scope, obviously, that they have right now, which is very small. You go somewhere, a large firm, you may get a blank warrant, right? In the Postal Service, they'll have someone there with guns, and IRS will have someone with guns, and Department of Treasury, and so on and so forth.
Oh,
but
so
those are unique instances.
building
I
security
think they were
has
planning
guns?
something much bigger on a more regular scale for smaller businesses.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders took the stage at Coachella Saturday. Who had that on their bingo card? He ranted about
Really?
President Trump and billionaires in front of a crowd that spends a lot of cash to be there.
This country faces some very difficult challenges. We need you to stand up to fight for justice. To fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice.
All right.
I mean, listen, then the people that were there, exactly. Look at the costs. So you're speaking to a crowd of people who are not the crowd of people that are suffering financially, right? I mean, if you can afford to go to a place like this, okay, then I'm not sure that, I'm trying to be nice here, guys. These are the virtue signaling individuals that say one thing and do the exact opposite. Well, basically.
So he wasn't like the top musical name to go. They had planned to spend this money anyway, but we just want to show you how much they did spend. General admission to the concert alone, $600. VIP tickets, nearly $1,200. Factor in accommodations, meals, and drinks. A lot of people travel. That adds on hundreds, if not thousands. Joe Concha has some strong feelings about this.
Bernie Sanders goes there as well, I guess, to appeal to the working man and woman, the same senator who owns 3 homes and is worth millions of dollars. So the hypocrisy is so pure. That's Bernie.
Yeah, that's from his book deals, though.
Owns 3 homes and is worth millions of dollars. So the hypocrisy is so pure. That's Bernie's audience. Yeah, and then we heard his partner in crime, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just last week, flying to a Fight the Oligarchy rally. Flew first class. This is something where the Democratic Party really has some problems right now because Donald Trump has co-opted the very voters that used to reliably vote Democrat.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
I knew
Guys, I don't really have much of a problem with Bernie Sanders. I mean, sometimes he says a lot. He says a lot of things that are absolutely crazy. In fact, the things just do not make sense. This is not the first time he's spoken to a crowd of people who are the exact opposite, who are living their life in the exact opposite manner than he's basically preaching. But I think Bernie is someone who in fact believes everything deeply. I don't think that he is one of these people that could be bought. So, and I respect the fact that he cannot be bought.
Opinion piece has this headline.
Mainly.
Of all the things to go into debt for, these Americans choose the dumbest possible thing. Here's part of it. How desperate and stupid do you have to be if you are willing to go into debt for a concert? Our culture is so rotten that instead of looking for a way to get married, buy a home, start a real life, 20-somethings are willing to ruin their financial future over Lady Gaga. Look, we're talking about the fact
It's
that
called
reports
doom
now that
spending.
people have taken out loans. They are seriously
Yeah.
going into debt to
Definitely.
go see the concert. And, Sanders is just one of the names added to the bill. And that audience is huge. I don't know if they
Massive.
care that he's there.
They're huge. They didn't come to see him, but he came to see them, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's his focus is on young, ideological, not really understanding what's going on in the world. There used to be an old saying, if you're not progressive or liberal when you're 20s, you don't have a heart. If you're not conservative and fiscally conservative when you're in your 40s, you don't have a brain.
I would say 30s.
So, I mean, it's an old saying, but it just
But
goes
yeah,
to
it's
how to
old
live
saying.
life. So, yeah, these things sound wonderful. But how do we get in this predicament in the first place? We transferred from a nation of rugged individualism that became the #1 country in the world. And over a period of time, beginning with the Great Depression, we lost a lot of that. In the 60s and 70s is when the nail was put in the coffin because big government became bigger and they would solve every single problem, every nuance, every social slight. And they've been running on that. You can find videos of Bernie Sanders, the greatest hits, saying the same speech over and over again for at least 25 years.
Yep.
And it's a recruitment. It's not even about a plan to do anything. It's just a recruiting tool for the Democratic Party.
That's one way to put it, but I think he's independent, not Democrat. That's one way to put it, but that he did add some kind of. It feels kind of valid, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. But I think that just means that he just never changed his message. That's the vibe here. He did run for president twice, guys. Right?
Yeah, and I don't know know how much you can really rev up an audience about politics. I believe there are some alcoholic beverages, perhaps. Like, I don't know what the crowd's been on, but it's nighttime. They spent all that money, went into debt to get there. They're partying, woohoo! And a politician shows up on stage. They probably clap for anybody, just hoping he gets off. I don't
No,
even
that's
know
his
if they know
base.
who he is at that point. They're having
Yeah,
fun.
That's his
they're having
base.
fun. And again, yeah, they feel like, okay, this is they learn about fairness. That's the main thing they've been learning about.
Okay.
And then their minds, what he's saying sounds right. It sounds fair.
I hear you.
Then they learn history. Then they start writing bills, and then all of a sudden they start getting a check. And who is this FICO person getting a big piece of my action? You know, real life kicks in.
Wow, I wrote down rugged individualism.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. That was the driver. And what do we have now?
Big government,
Weakness.
I call it the dependency class. It's a placated dependency class.
Okay.
They get just enough to go ahead and finance a concert. You can actually use Klarna, buy now, pay later for DoorDash. Now, how
What is
absurd is that?
Klarna?
Again, you take a meal that if you walk down to McDonald's yourself and spend $10, now it's a $40 meal. After you paid the fees for DoorDash and after you pay the interest for Klarna. This is just how backwards this is. Whoever wrote that op-ed is right. They're sacrificing their entire life, their future, their economic future.
There's a
to live
reason.
in a moment.
Okay, guys, here's the thing. Okay, so the people that are speaking right now are definitely slightly older than me even, and so I'm just trying to like, how do you speak to people that are complete like they come from such a different generation in time where it was like, hey, bro, listen, the harder I work, the more I'm going to succeed. Right. I stay at this company for 20 years. I'm going to get a pension, et cetera, et cetera. While kids these days, Gen Zs and like older millennials, right? I'm not sure, bro. Or younger millennials, apologies. That's not our experience, bro. It's not. It's just not. It's not the experience at all. Like, I mean, like 50% of Gen Zers and millennials are still, receiving money from their parents, because like that's the situation we're in versus the situation that they're in. They were in, and they're still in, right? I mean, the problem is that, guys, there were people like before 2018 who were saving up money to specifically purchase houses, right? And then the housing boom happened. Then money started being printed. Their $20,000 that they were able to save in their bank account now became basically nothing compared to what you need to buy a house now. All right. I mean, you're looking at about $80,000 to $100,000 cash down if you want to, not get like the principal mortgage insurance added to your mortgage indefinitely, guys. Right. So you have to put the 20% down, or not even look at buying a house. Right. You're paying extra. You're wasting extra money. So what are these kids doing these days? They're saying, listen, if I can't afford to live in the United States of America, I'm not making excuses for them, guys. But I mean, I get it. Right. I get it. I'm telling you, I get it. They're just doom spending. There's nothing, I can't succeed and live in America the way that my parents lived or my grandparents lived, so then forget it. All the money that I make is going to go towards things that are actually tangible. Travel, experiences, like these type of things. That's what they're doing, bro. I mean, I get it. I understand what they're doing. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think it's the most logical thing in the world. I personally would just move somewhere else where the dollar stretches longer. And there are many countries where your dollar stretches longer, specifically if you have the ability to work remotely. All right. I do live half the year in the south of Spain, Costa del Sol, Andalusia, right? And they don't make as much as we do. Okay. And they're living on the beach with rent. I mean, like they're living on the beach where their backyard is like the Mediterranean Sea, and it's like 700 euros, guys. All right, that's like I'm gonna guesstimate $750, $780, right? Like they're living their lives. We have a problem with money, bro. Right? The dollar is not what it once was, bro. It's not. These young kids, they've been saving this money and it's going nowhere. But yet they have decided that they're going to watch the sinking ship, if that makes any sense here. Love my country, right? But we have a problem, bro. All right? Go to another country and see how far your dollar goes. Anywhere else. Right? Like some of our poorest in this country would be upper class anywhere else in the world. Right? Anywhere else. This is why the world has been taking advantage of us, because we have so much more than everyone else per capita. All right, guys, I don't want to sit here and beat a dead horse here, guys, but I get him. I understand it. I don't think it's smart. right? I do think that life is more than what your current experience is. All right. Just give it some time or go somewhere else with the money. Don't waste it because you're going to have to retire someday. You can't work forever, bro. Right? You're super comfortable with no assets, no investments. You're super comfortable. No assets, no investments. But at least, hey, listen, I spent my savings on Coachella tickets. Right? All right, bro. Sure thing, buddy. I'll catch you guys later.